Mary Kay Cabot into the show after a quick word from FanDuel. Guys, FanDuel is a brand new offer for new customers that you don't want to miss. New customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if they win. That's right. Pick a $5 bet. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download the FanDuel app and get started today. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in the Hall of Famer, Mary Kay Cabot, to the show. How you doing, Mary Kay?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great. Good to have you with us, Mary Kay. And we were talking. I mean, we're talking a lot of things, but let's start with this right tackle situation and we always start with quarterback. So let's shake it up a little bit. The Browns were rotating right tackles, something you never see. Why do you think he did it? I mean, at least for one game, it worked against a bad Dolphins team. Is that something you're expecting him to continue to do?
Well, I think that they're hoping that Jack Conklin will be back at right tackle and return from his concussion this week. In a perfect world, that's what they want to happen. And then if they can stabilize the other side with Cam Robinson, then they won't have to be doing this kind of rotating. No, it's not ideal. It's not that they would want to have happen, but KT does some things pretty well. And then Cornelius is a longtime veteran, so I think they just kind of wanted to mix it up and have right tackle by committee in this past game.
Another thing on offense that they did with great success that they had not done in the past very often was run the Wildcat at the goal line. They did it twice where Quinshon Judkins took the snap, and both times he scored a touchdown. Is that something that we'll continue to see, or is this kind of specific for the Miami situation?
Well, it was specific for the weather conditions. That was born out of necessity that they were going to try to do this. But since it worked, I don't see why you wouldn't try it again. He actually took 3 Wildcat snaps, and I could definitely see him doing it again. Right now, you've got to be as creative as you can. You've got to do whatever you can to move the ball. And remember that when your passing game isn't going right, and it isn't yet, then you have to find very, very creative ways to make sure that you can get Quinshon Judkins on the move into the end zone and whatever you have to do. So I do think we'll see more of it, and we saw plenty of jumbo in this game too.
Mary Kay, do you think that this Sunday against the Patriots, that whether they win or lose, that can have some implications on what they want to do for the trade deadline?
I actually kind of think so. I think that if you win this game and you go to 3-5, knowing the kinds of games that you have coming up after that with teams that have won 0 games or 1 game or 2 games, I do think that it puts you in a mind frame of, hey, maybe we can claw our way back into this thing a little tiny bit. So I actually think that, maybe it would change the philosophy a little bit, although I think their trade philosophy is more of a long-term thing than a short-term thing. And I think that, if anything, they will be buyers as opposed to sellers in the trade market going forward between now and November 4th. I do think that they would like to add a couple of players, guys that you can get on multi-year contracts that you're going to have around for 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. So I think that's what they would like to do. And then, once again, if you lose the game, change your philosophy the other way where you're more willing to part with the guy. I think anything can happen going forward.
Does Flacco playing well on Thursday night make the Browns look bad?
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so, because he wasn't going to play here anymore. And it's not like they got some great draft pick out of it. All they did was move up a little bit from the 6th round to the 5th round in 2026. But I think what it tells us is that the Browns really don't have much of a receiving core this year. They don't have much of a passing game. And when you take Joe Flacco and you put him on a team where he can throw to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Noah Fant and Andre Yosivach, then he's going to look better. And I knew that was going to happen going into that game, and I tweeted that at some point or wrote about that at some point, where I thought he would look a whole lot better throwing to some of those guys than what he had going on here. And I think it'll be the same way for a while for Dillon and for Shedeur if Shedeur gets in here. I think that they need to elevate their passing game somehow. And I actually would be going out and buying a receiver. I don't know if they have any plans to do that. I sort of don't think they have any plans to do that. But that's one thing that I would be doing. I would be going out and getting a veteran, sure-handed receiver, somebody that you could have around for for a couple of years after this year as well, and just give your quarterbacks something to look forward to when they go out there and try to throw the ball.
What was your thoughts on, because I see it was a pretty controversial topic, what was your thoughts on the end of the game of Shedeur not getting reps?
That should not have been controversial.
I didn't have a huge problem with that. It didn't really necessarily occur to me. You don't really see that all that often when a team is winning a game the way that they were winning the game. You don't really see the backup come in all that often. So that didn't do anything for me at all. I think a lot of people just want Shedeur to play so much that they're hoping that that's going to happen. But they're going to give Dillon a decent on-ramp to make sure that he has the opportunity to go out there, show what he can do, get better each week, look good. They're not going to give up on him too quickly. And that would probably open up a can of worms for them if they start throwing Shedeur in there, even in spot duty right now. So I'm not really feeling that or really seeing it. But I will say this. In practice, Shedeur Sanders has been making a ton of progress. He looks really good. I've been saying this over and over again. If you put Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel side by side or one after the other in a 7-on-7 red zone drill, I think that Shedeur would probably win that drill much of the time. Or if you put them up against each other in a pockets drill where you're throwing the ball into the little pockets in the net, I think Shedeur would win that a lot of the time. But there are so many other things that you have to do. You have to be able to protect yourself. You have to be able to read the defense. You have to be able to call the play, slide the protections, manage the motions, and do all those things. He's coming up the learning curve very, very quickly and very well on all of that. The reviews I'm hearing from inside the building are really, really good on Shedeur's progress right now. But I think they still want to give Dillon some time. Now, he's got to make some points out there. He's got to produce and generate some touchdown passes. But for now, I think the status quo will be maintained.
I think that's great to hear, though. I mean, the fact that you're hearing inside the building that there's been major improvement in the areas where he needs to improve to be ready to play. The fact that that's the word is an extreme positive for those who have been frustrated by Shedeur not playing and his coverage. So that's a major positive, and I'm sure somebody will find a way to spin that in a negative way, but because that's what happened with Shedeur. But anyway, yeah, I mean, as you said, Dillon Gabriel. Listen, he's played 3 games. It's certainly not enough. He's got very little talent around him. To me, he hasn't done much to stand out. Has he done anything for you to stand out in these 3 games?
Well, in this past game, I think it was really hard to evaluate a quarterback on his passing skills, right? I mean, anybody's going to struggle in those conditions. I thought he did some good things. I thought he protected the ball for the most part, although he could have been picked off a couple of times. But he protected the ball in those wet, slick conditions, wasn't dropping anything, fumbling anything. He didn't lose the ball on either of his 2 sacks. He did that well. I thought he rolled out and moved well, and I think that's important because that is what this offense is predicated on a lot, is that quarterback movement. And that's one thing that Shedeur doesn't necessarily have, although you really can run a lot of those bootlegs and keepers and that kind of thing with pretty much any quarterback that I've seen in my experience. But just in terms of being faster and more mobile, Dillon has that edge over Shedeur. And then, of course, from everything that we've been hearing, his processing speed is faster, or has been to this point, over Shedeur's. But maybe Shedeur has caught up in that regard. So we'll have to see how that goes as we go along. But I do think that the Browns will play Shedeur at some point this season.
Yeah. Mary Kate, Myles Garrett had some comments. He always has comments, and he speaks his opinion. And when you make more than anybody in the league at that position, you can't say your opinion, and no one can say a darn thing about it.
Nope.
Point being, some people may look at that and be like, he needs to maybe not do that. But either way, he can. Do you think that helped motivate the team at all?
It may have. When your team leader is standing up and sort of calling things out, if nothing else, it ruffled some feathers. It really ruffled some feathers. And from after that, we heard that Kevin Stefanski came out and really laid into the offense in a team meeting on Monday. And that really that seems out of character for Kevin. But everybody was getting so frustrated by the offense just not doing its part And it kind of started with Myles coming out after that Steelers game and saying, I'm frustrated as hell by losing the same way every week. So I think it got the ball rolling on trying to wake up the offense. But really, when you look at this offense, they only scored 10 points in their own right without help from a turnover in this past game. 21 points were scored off of turnovers. So it wasn't like it was this big change and this big improvement overall from the offense. They got a lot of help from the defense and special teams to do what they did. Still have a lot to prove.
So with that being said, obviously they got the Patriots this Sunday. Braves was just in the building. What do you think they have to do to win that game?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to try to figure out how to beat Vrabes because he's got his team playing really, really well. The game is on the road, and as we know, all three of those losses before this Miami game came on the road, and it's just going to be tough. He's got Drake May playing really well. He's really accurate, and they're scoring some points. So I think it's going to be a tough game to win, and because Mike Vrabel was in the building, he knows the Browns' personnel inside and out for the most part, and he knows the scheme inside and out. So he helped in every phase of the game, really. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult for them to go and stack a win here, but it can be done. Remember, they're playing a young quarterback in Drake May, and this Browns defense, I would stack it up pretty much with any defense in the NFL, and they can make life very tough on Drake May if they want to.
Mary Kay, thank you as always. We appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys.